Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, issue number 11. That's right, folks. If you look at this cover, it looks like the battle between Marc and Moon Knight, who's really the, avatar and all that kind of stuff. Just a grotesque man ripping his own face off because what lies underneath is a terrible creature, which is Moon Knight. That's not what this book's about. It's actually about a birthday. Marc's having a birthday. So that's something. This was a pleasant little issue. If you told me this was the finale to all the stuff that McKay was working on, how it's kind of about Marc realizing he has to atone for the mistakes he's made and go down the righteous path, yeah, I think this could be a good finale. This book must be doing okay to, garner it still going on, because we got an issue 12 coming out. And other books struggle to get to 10 issues these days. I think that's very interesting. So it must be like a really niche audience that's keeping the sales at a reasonable amount. I hope I'm contributing to that a little bit, because I just think this book has really reinvigorated what this character is needed. And this feels like the perfect kind of conclusion to this era. Like, if it was the last thing I saw from the Jed McKay era of Moon Knight, I'd be okay, because it deals with everything he's been talking about. So I like that. So this issue opens up, and we're actually in the POV of an unknown character for the most part. This is a character who's going to be walking around with all the other characters for a bit. So we open up in the Midnight Mission. Reese and Soldier are trying to put some stuff together because a party's going to go on. Even though the Midnight Mission's dead and things aren't going well, they want the neighborhood to know that they're still there to take care of it. So they want to have a celebration. It's both for Marc's birthday, and so people know that the Midnight Mission is going to be back up and running. So Soldier is going to head out and get some of the food and just stuff for the party. He's going to take this unknown person with him. They get in a vehicle. He's talking about how good Moon Knight is, how it saved his life, and this was a guy that showed him something better. I really like the different ways these characters react to Marc. I think it's really interesting. Reese is very level-headed about it. She's like, we need him. He's been good for us. Soldier kind of treats him like he is a god, he's atoning for the mistakes he's made. I think that's a really interesting way to explore that. So they go into the store. He doesn't know how to do this kind of stuff. He's not really good at it. And when they get outside, we see that 8-Ball descends from a pole, and he's wearing a Moon Knight cape. And he's like, hey, you like it? Looks pretty good, right? I'm pretty cool. I'm patrolling the area. Look at me. Bop, bop, bop. I actually like it. I mean, you got a black and white character like 8-Ball. Putting the big cloak on it, I think it just adds something fun. Makes him a little more expressive. And I know the artists on this book are just so good at making 8-Ball expressive already. It just adds something cool. And now we see that this character is going to go walking with 8-Ball and gets a little bit more into how 8-Ball sees Moon Knight. And he's just a tough guy, a good hero. He's the scariest thing out there. And he's my friend now. and I feel safe. And I think that's kind of cool. So 8-Ball takes this person to Tiger's place, drops them off there. We see that William is the one who answers the door, and then we see that Greer opens oh, sorry, hi, William's not supposed to open the door for people he doesn't know. I'm glad you could make it, though. And William hands this person a picture that he drew for Moon Knight, and he's like, do you think he's gonna like it? It's just a moon symbol. Really cool. I want to talk about William a little bit more when we get into this. It's so fun to see this character. Anyways, we get a little bit of just people asking, how old is Marc actually turning? Nobody really knows. But Greer kind of explains yeah, he's a tough guy to love, but I don't like getting bored. So so then they start walking down the street. They're headed to the party. They're just crossing the street and everything. And Greer kind of gives us how she feels about that. She doesn't spend the time necessarily talking about, how Marc influences her. That's kind of the love stuff of, he's a hard man to love. She's more about the Midnight Mission, how it's, an important thing to have there. It's kind of, sad how he was such a lonely creature, and there's only one other person she could think of was that lonely, and that was Marc. Anyways, let's get to the party. Everyone's having a good time. They're celebrating. 8-Ball is on a banjo? No, a ukulele? We then cut to like just behind the party where Badir's standing there and he's like, "Oh, hello. It's good to see you again. You look different from the last time I saw you." All right. Well, I don't really like parties and I don't really want to interact with these people, but I guess I just kind of have to. Speaking of which, where's my brother? Why isn't he at this party? Like, this is for him. If I have to be here, he has to be here too. And he starts like just like talking like he always does this. He can just do whatever he wants and thinks he's getting away with it. And then we just see like the outline of somebody climbing up a ladder, going to the rooftop, and Badir's like, "Wait, where'd you go?" And we see who the POV character is for the majority of this book. It has been Beatrice, Marc's daughter. And Marc's on the rooftop and he's like, "Hey, kid." She's like, "Hi, Dad." And they embrace and they have a little moment. He says that she's grown. I can't remember because the last time we saw her was in like that annual issue, which was like 3 years ago now. Has she aged in real time since that issue? I might have, or I should have went back and checked that out, but I don't know. She looks older now. I think she's older than William. That leads me just to like the conversation of just like legacy characters. Like Marc and Greer have been around so long that they got kids that are at least 10 years old. I think that's crazy. So Beatrice is here, and Marc was warned that she'd be there. It was supposed to be a surprise, but of course her mom just kind of told him because she doesn't want the events to happen like last time when she was attacked by a werewolf man. So they just have like a little conversation, and she's like, "So, are you happy now with these things? Like 8-Ball's wearing a cape and you got a sword. Everyone's just going a little crazy." And he's like, "Well, this is like Ganir the Hoarding Blade. It's like a dragon inside a sword." It's like, okay. Explain that to your kid. And then, I mean, they don't get deep into like the weeds in their relationship and how she feels about it. I think the context that she's there is enough to really like understand how she feels about her dad. He's a complicated person, and literally everyone she's interacted with has said that to her. I think they handle that really well. So Marc's like, "You know what? I've done enough damage to the people in my life. Maybe I could do something good for once." So he's like to Gannar, he's like, "You know what? You killed my midnight mission. You took its soul and you hoarded it. Can you put it back?" And he like stabs it into the top of the midnight mission. And electricity forms everywhere. And he's just like, "I've lost so many people like Frenchie and Crawley and Gina and Ricky and Ray and Marlene and your mother and Jeff and Layla and Warren and Jaime and all the others. There's all these people. Like, I want to do something good. I don't want to lose the midnight mission." And you see Beatrice is like, "Hey, this feels right. It feels like you brought it back to life." And he did. Marc is now in possession of a dragon sword, and his living haunted house is alive again. And he's like, "Hey, Mission, I missed you. This is my daughter. Would you two like to be friends?" And they just like, "Hey, things are getting back in the area. That's kind of cool. Everything's good. It's a new day. We got the midnight mission. It's back alive. I got to go celebrate my birthday." And the book ends with 8-Ball being like, "Nobody cares about my cape anymore." I mean, this is kind of cute. It's so different in tone from a lot of the other books that we've seen from Jed MacKay doing here. But I don't hate it. I think it's just so interesting to handle it, and the POV stuff's really cool. We've really established these characters and how they feel and how they think, and I think just having that really benefits this book. I'm always happy to see Beatrice. I think she's such an interesting wrinkle in the legacy of Moon Knight. I'm curious to see what other writers would do with her, if there'd be like the push to make her more connected to the world, but keeping her at a distance and just being like this, troublesome child that knows her dad's a mess up. I think just works so well for this character. And Marc finally being like, "I'm going to do the right thing and get the midnight mission back because we're just two lonely souls that need each other." I'm all for that. I think that's great. That works so well for this character and this interpretation of Marc in particular. So while the cover's insane, it's just about a guy on his birthday feeling lonely. And his daughter kind of brings out the best in him. And I think that's kind of nice. Nothing like the cover invokes, but you gotta sell copies. So Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, issue number 11. I am going to give a 9 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.